Good day, Sir Season. So I'm Rosales John Paul D, your student of CLG 300 Section Foxtrot. So I'm the first reporter of Group 2. So my topic is all about Section 6. So the liberty of abode and of changing the same within the limits prescribed by law shall not be impaired except upon lawful order of the court. Neither shall the right to travel be impaired except in the interest of national security, public safety, or public health as may be provided by law. So, first, let's tackle about the liberty of abode. So, liberty of abode is the right to choose and change one's residence without government interference. So, example, freedom to choose a residence. So, a Filipino citizen can live anywhere in the Philippines without restriction. Uh, Other example is right to own property. So citizens can acquire and own real estate properties anywhere in the country. So protection from forced relocation. So government cannot forcibly relocate individuals or families without due process and just compensation. So another example is freedom to leave or return. So citizens can leave their homes or return to them without undue restriction. So next is in right of travel. So right of travel. So we have a freedom to domestic travel. So citizens can travel freely within the Philippines without need for permits or restrictions. Second is right to international travel. So citizens have the right to travel abroad and return to the Philippines subject to immigration laws. So third is the protection from unlawful detention. So authorities cannot detain individuals for traveling without valid reasons. Last is freedom to choose destination. So citizens can choose their destination whether domestic or international. So kani ato ang mga rights po na naitay katungod na po na siya limitations. So while these rights are protected, there are exceptions. So except for interest of national security. So travel restrictions may be imposed for national security reasons. So for example, no, kung nay outbreak sa laing gawas or bombahanay, so mo request so mukan ang Philippines nga mo request mukuan sila national security for a reasons. Dili sila mo pasulod sa katong katong lugar nga sigig na ibomba na mga kanang terrorist ito sige ga bomba, so dili sila magpasulod diri sa Philippines. Nagkuhan sila og national security for a reasons kay para dili pod maapil ang Philippines og bombahanay diri. So like that. Okay, number 2 exemptions is public health. So travel restrictions may be imposed during public health emergencies. So example ani no, katong COVID-19. So walay biyahe-biyahe sa ang barko, ang mga eroplano, so bawal tanan, lockdown because of public health like COVID. So bawal mo tabok sa laing lugar, ang laing lugar bawal pud mo anhi diri sa atoong lugar. So mao na example ato no. So number 3 exemptions is court orders. So individuals may be restricted from traveling due to court orders. Court orders like example, dili ka pabiyahe tungod kay na kay mga pending cases. So mo nay court orders or request sa korte nga dili ka pa travelon, dili ka paadton sa laing lugar kay na mao lagi na kay pending nga cases. So last is immigration laws. So travelers must comply with immigration laws and regulations. So immigration laws katuning example haning mga passport, so mga documents, mga requirements para makatabo ka sa mga laing lugar, travel no, tiraan ang passport. So kailangan kag mga inana. Okay? So that's all, sir. That's all about of my topic, and thank you, sir.
So, good day, sir. I am Clark Dongkoy and I am the next reporter. So, Section 7. The right of the people to information on matters of public concern shall be recognized, access to official records and to documents and papers pertaining to official acts, transaction, or decision as well as to government research data used as basis for policy development shall be afforded the citizens, subject to such limitation as may be provided by law. So, in Section 7 of the Bill of Rights guarantees the right of citizens to access information on the matter of public concerns. So this means that people have the right to request official records, documents, and data related to government actions, decisions, or policies which ensures transparency and accountability in governance. However, this right is subject to certain limitations as outlined by law to protect sensitive information. So, number one, right to access. Citizens are entitled to access official records, documents, and data, particularly those related to government decision, acts, and transactions. This includes information about laws, policies, programs, and government-funded projects. So number two, government research data. Citizens can also request research data that, that the government uses to develop policies. For example, so if the government creates a new healthcare policy, citizens could access the studies and report used to justify the policy. So number three, limitation. While citizens have the right to access information, there are limitations to these rights, so which may be established by law. These restrictions are designed to protect certain sensitive areas such as national security. So, for example, classified military or intelligence information. So then privacy, personal data or individuals, then commercial or proprietary informations, business secrets, business secrets or government's contract with private companies. So for example, if a local government is planning to build a new hospital, citizens have the right to request. So feasibility studies that explain why the hospital is needed. Then budget breakdowns showing how funds will be allocated for the projects. Then report or minutes of meetings where the decision was made. So, however, if the documents contain confidential information about the bidding process or sensitive details about security measures for the hospital, such detail might be withheld to protect privacy and national security. So, Section 7 ensures transparency by granting citizens access to government information but also balance the right to information with the need to protect certain sensitive data.
So, good day, sir. I am Emmanuel B. Biosa, and I am going to explain what is Section 8 and Section 9 all about. So, first, I am going to explain Section 8. So, when we say Section 8 of Bill of Rights, the right of the right of the people, including those employed in the public and private sectors, to form association or societies for purposes not contrary to law, shall not be abridged. So, Section 8 of the Bill of Rights in the 1987 Philippine Constitution guarantees the right of workers to form unions, engage in collective bargaining, and participate in peaceful concerted activities, including the right to strike, in accordance with the law. It seeks to protect and promote the welfare of laborers, ensuring their voices are heard in matters affecting their rights and interests. So, in Section 8 of the Bill of Rights, part of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, focuses on the prohibition of torture, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment or punishment. So when we say kuan, no torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which means vitiate the free will shall be used against him. Secret detention places, solitary, incommunicado, or other similar forms of detention are prohibited. And any confession or admission obtained in violation or of this section hereof shall be inadmissible in evidence against him. So, this provision underscores the inviolation rights to human dignity and protection against abuse. So, it guarantees that every person, regardless of the circumstances, must not be subjected to acts that harm their physical and psychological well-being. It reflects the state commitment to uphold human rights as fundamental principles of a democratic society. So, Section 8, which is the right of the people, including those employed in the public and private sectors, to form unions, associations, or societies or for purposes not contrary to law shall not be abridged. So, this section aims to protect individuals from abuses of power and promote accountability within law enforcement and judicial processes. So, by outlawing cruel and coercive practices, it strengthens the rules of law and safeguards the fundamental rights of every person in the Philippines. So, next is Section 9. Section 9 is all about private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. So, in Section 9 of the Bill of Rights in the Philippines, in 1987 Philippine Constitution states that private property cannot be taken for public use without just compensation. It ensures the protection of property rights while allowing the government to acquire private property for public benefit provided owners are fairly compensated. So when we say section 9 of the Bill of Rights in the 1987 Philippine Constitution, this provision enshrine the principles of eminent domain, which allows the government to acquire private property for public use. However, it sets two fundamental safeguards. First is the property must be for public use, and the second is the owner must receive just compensation. This ensures a balance between the government need for land to serve the common good and protection of individual property rights. So, there are 5 key elements. So, first is the eminent domain and public use. So, when we say eminent domain and public use, the government may exercise its power of eminent domain to acquire private property for projects that serve the public interest, such as roads, schools, bridges, and other infrastructure. However, the phrase public use has been interpreted broadly by the court to include projects that promote public welfare, economic development, or social equity. Second is just compensation. So, the Constitution guarantees the property owners are entitled to receive just compensation, which is the fair market value of the property at the same time of its taking. This ensures that individuals are not unfairly deprived of their property. Payment must be prompt, adequate, and made in money or its equivalent. Number 3, protection of property rights. So Section 9 recognizes the fundamental right to property and safeguard against arbitrary confiscation by the state. It prohibits the government from taking property without following due process and compensating the owner fairly. This reflects the Constitution's broader commitment to individual right and social justice. And the last one is judicial review. If disputes arise, such as disagreement over whether the taking is for public use or the adequacy of compensation, courts have the power to review and resolve their issue. This provides an additional.
So, I am the last reporter of Group 2. My name is Jameson Mailong and I will be reporting the Section 10. No law impairing the obligation of contract shall be passed. So, Section 10 states that no law impairing the obligation of contract shall be passed is a constitutional provision in the Philippines that protects the integrity of contracts. It is found in Section 10, Article 3 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. So, this provision means that the government cannot pass laws that would significantly alter the terms of contract without the consent of both parties. It also ensures that the terms of the contracts are upheld even if the parties involved later disagree. So, what it means, obligation of contracts, this refers to the legal duties of obligation that arise from a valid contract. Then, when two or more parties voluntarily enter the binding agreement, they are obligated to fulfill their respective promises under the contract. Impairing means to impair, means to weaken, alter, or diminish the enforceability of a contract. No law shall be passed. This provision prohibits governments, particularly state legislatures, from enacting laws that retroactively invalidate, modify, or interfere the existing contractual obligation. And number 2 is, and my other explanation is purpose. The clause ensures stability and reliability of commercials and personal transactions by preventing arbitrary government action that could undermine trust in contractual agreements. And it is also promotes economic certainty and fairness of guaranteeing the contracts will be respected and enforced as originally agreed upon. Scope and limitation. While the clause prohibits direct impairment of contract, it does not make contracts immune from all government's regulations. So, for example, police power. Governments can regulate contracts for the public welfare, health, safety, and morals, etc. Government can pass laws that affect future contracts but not law that retroactively affect existing ones. Court balance. The contract laws against other legitimate government interests such as protecting public welfare or responding to economic crisis. So example number 2, prohibited law. A state passing a law that cancel existing debts owned by citizens. A regulation that retroactively changes the terms of a private loan agreements. Allowed law. A statement enacting regulation on new contract to protect consumers from predatory practices. Temporary moratoriums on foreclosures during emergencies if deemed reasonable and necessary. Judicial interpretation. Over time, courts have interpreted the clause to strike a balance between protecting contractual obligation and allowing governments to enact reasonable regulation in the public interest. For example, in home building and loan association. So that is an example. And My conclusion in this report, the Section 10, the Conduct Clause is a critical legal protection that prevents government from undermining the sanctity and contracts. However, its application is not absolute and court-weight the need to uphold contracts against the government's authority to regulate for the greater public goods. And that is all my report.